Welcome back to the Legendary Starfy Weinstein, and this episode, Leslie.
Um, when you were a kid, did you ever spill something or break something and try to hide it?
Probably. I can't... Oh no, I scared the Jambliss! I can't remember, off the top of my head, but I'm sure I did.
My brother, for a while, he went through this phase where he would just keep fucking spilling drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then try to hide it, but he was a dumbass little fucking 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And he didn't know how to hide it, so we would know that he spilled something because we would walk through a room with hardwood floors and just step on a spot of just fucking sticky floor.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like, Davey, did you spill something? He'd be like, no. And then we would find the broken glass under the bed, and we'd be like, you fucking, we wouldn't have been mad if you didn't lie about it. And then he would cry because he got in trouble.
Fuck. Jamblisses. Oh, I forgot I could murder. This one time when I was a kid, we were at TGI Fridays for a family dinner. And I knocked my Coke over, and it got all over my sister's brand new phone she'd just gotten that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
She was not happy. I thought it was pretty funny.
Did anyone else think it was funny?
My dad.
Yeah, how do you was he laughing?
Yeah, he smiled a little bit.
Your dad's kind of base.
Yeah, because it didn't get broken or anything. It just got a little juicy.
Yeah.
It was thirsty.
Yeah, she wanted a little Coke.
Yeah, it's like when your Wii wants some orange juice. Eat the Clandis.
I keep forgetting you have more than one sibling.
I have 10.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're a fucking Little Home on the Prairie, 7,000
the
family
Clandis
members.
Yeah. E. Rainbow. Oh, Starfy learned a new word.
Yeah?
Yeah, he said E. I guess he learned a new letter.
Yeah.
But it's still, that's a step up from ping. The rainbow droplet worked. Ruby took care of your clowns. I feel. Why did we help these fucks?
Because you found out that, that they don't want to work for their evil bad guy boss.
Honestly, me either. Mo's pissed.
I technically still have 2 stepsisters because my dad never divorced, my stepmom.
They're out there somewhere.
Yeah, my brother apparently has
fingers.
the older one, on Snapchat, and I was like, man, you still talk to them? He's like, well, I talked to one of them. And I was like, why would you do that to yourself? I fucking hated those kids. I could not stand being around them.
Honestly.
I've told the story about how the younger one fucking bit her finger.
Yes.
Because she thought it was a Cheeto.
Yes.
Yeah, words can't describe how much I hated when my dad and stepmom would go out somewhere and I would be left to fucking to babysit, and it would be my brother and I left to babysit, but they would be little fucking shits, and if my brother told them to do something and they didn't want to do it, they'd be like, you're not the oldest, you're not in charge, and then they would come over and be like, Leslie, Davey's telling us to do this, and I'd be like, yeah, then fucking do it. What do you think I'm gonna say, motherfucker? Oh, you don't want to do it? I mean, that sucks. I'm gonna tell you to do it, and I'm also gonna be upset that you, think I'm your, get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
And it would never be, mean things we told them to do. It would always be like, hey, you left toys on the kitchen table. Go take them back to your room. And they'd be like, well, we're not done playing in there, even though they hadn't played in there, since, for, hours, you know?
Yeah, but if they were done playing, then they have to pick up, and that's gay.
Yeah, exactly. But they'd be like, Davy's telling us to do this. I'm like, yeah, do it. That sucks. Why
You'd be
didn't you
like,
do it if he
damn,
told
that's
you
crazy.
to? They're like, damn, that's crazy. Guess what I'm gonna tell you? You'll never guess.
It's gonna fucking rock your world.
God, and then when the younger
Fuck!
one was told that she has ADHD, um, first of all, I can't tell who told her about it. Either the doctor did, or my dad and stepmom did, and one of the three did an awful job explaining to her what it was. Um, she one day deadass told me I can't control what I do because I have a disease, and I was like, no, you don't. You don't have a disease, and also that is not a good excuse. You absolutely can control yourself. You just don't want to go pick up the kitchen table when I tell you to put your dishes in the sink. Um, and then like she would start crying and throw a fit at me, and I was like, damn. Now guess who's going to be crying in their room? You are. Not me.
Crazy.
You are.
Well, this is fucking pointless.
Yeah, that was a bonus. You got a bonus level though.
That I'm not gonna do.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck!
But yeah, that's what that was. And like, God, I just fucking
That's
hated.
so fucking shitty, because there's like people who, like actually have ADHD who really can't fucking control their impulses.
Yeah. And you know, when you take your... Like, by the way, she wasn't like... like 12 or 13, where ADHD can, like, really manifest.
Yeah.
She was 7.
When was this?
This was, maybe 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And she was 7.
I was gonna
She was
say,
in, like...
if this was
What?
like 2008 to 2013, that was when they really didn't understand ADHD, and like they were just telling parents like, "Oh, your kid doesn't want to sit still in class. Your
No,
8-year-old
that's
child
literally what it
must be
was.
ADHD."
That's literally what it was.
Let's microdose them on meth.
No, literally, that's what it was. It wasn't that she was, like, genuinely having issues. It's that she would keep on getting up in the middle of class and walking around. And instead of, like, being disciplined, like, sit in your fucking seat, you little monster, it was, we think your child has something going on in her brain right now. It's like, no, you need to fucking put her in timeout, and then she'll learn what she needs to do.
No. That's the problem. She doesn't have anything going on in her brain.
Yeah, she thought her fucking finger was a Cheeto.
Honestly. A gelato fish! Oh,
Yeah.
dude, there's secrets up here. It's just a muscle arm. Clamp. Love this animal. The clamp.
But yeah, another really cool thing about that particular child was, she was put on meds. Guess when, they didn't give her her meds? When my brother and I were over and we had to babysit. So we just had to fucking sit there with a child that was believed to be unruly. Because, their mom was like, I don't want my kids to take pills all the time. Fucking ironic, because she lost a fucking tooth due to meth use.
No, it's
literally,
fine.
like,
she wasn't doing pills, she was doing nose candy. Get over it.
Yeah. No, not nose candy. One day, like, my dad had come to pick my brother up.
Wait for me.
Or my brother and I up, to, like, spend a weekend with him. And we get in the car, and he's like, okay, so Brandy lost a tooth, and she's really self-conscious about it, so if you see it, don't, like, say anything about it. And my brother and I were like, oh, okay, whatever. Dad did not tell us which tooth, so then when I went over, to fucking, went over to their house, I, like, was talking to her, because she didn't come with Dad to pick my brother and I up. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, and I, like, look at her, and she's missing, like, her front left tooth. Like, her front left incisor.
Oh, dude, it's John Doe.
And then, like, my brother and I, like, we never really said anything to each other, but we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, Oh. um, but yeah, so there was that. And then the older one, it was just a fucking bitch. Like once she took like a Sharpie and
Oh fuck!
messily spelled her sister's name on like the headboard of their bed for no reason other than to get her in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And the way we found out that she like faked, you know, like her sister writing her name, was because she spelled her sister's fucking name wrong. And then she did another thing where she covered her hands in like glitter glue and put like glue handprints all over the wall, and then took like markers and drew pictures on the wall. And she was like, "Look at what Brianna did. Look at what she did." And then we walk in there, and well, I walked in there because it was me that she reported it to.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in there, and I'm like, yeah, Tala, you know Brianna isn't tall enough to reach this part of the fucking wall, right?" Because, like, Tala was 12. Tala was almost twice Brianna's age.
Yeah.
Just bleep out the names, maybe, because I don't want this, like, they're still, like, kids.
You didn't use full names. They can't find them.
Oh, you're right, you're right. Well, I was like, yeah, Tala, she can't fucking reach that, so maybe you should go sit in your room for 6 hours until your mom gets home, and then we can talk about what to do then. And then she had a meltdown at me, and I was like, damn, I guess you shouldn't, like, frame your fucking sister, you fucking psychopath.
That was
what the fuck?
The fucking worst thing about having younger siblings is when they would have meltdowns at you, and you're just there like, yeah?
Yeah, it's like, what do you think I'm gonna do about this? Care?
Because, like,
No?
my mom was fucking to the point where, you know, after I'm the middle child, so I was number 6.
Yeah.
Well,
How old is your oldest sibling?
okay, so some of my siblings are step siblings.
Okay.
My oldest sibling is 30-ish something.
Yeah, I
like
was
mid-30s.
figuring, like, if you're 21 and you're the middle, so yeah,
and then
okay.
my youngest sibling is like 7.
Okay. I gotcha. Carry on.
So, like, here I am, fucking 14-year-old Isaac, babysitting these chitlets, and, like, obviously by this point my mom has stopped fucking caring because she's dealt with, like, 3 or 4 kids prior to this. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of whose is whose. Well, okay, my 2 older sisters are Tammy's, and then Beck. So 3 kids before me.
Okay.
So I was number 4. So she like stopped giving a shit, you know, like even with me a little bit. So, like, you know, obviously these kids get whatever the fuck they want. Like,
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad had to, like, sneak us out to Kmart while my mom was gone to buy us Game Boys because we had been asking for them for so long because my mom was so adamantly against us having electronics.
Why?
And then...
Did she think they, like, rotted your brain or something?
She's just fucking stupid. And then when my little brother was 2, she wanted to get him an iPad because he was just so good with hers.
Oh, the type of parent who's like, I don't actually want to raise my kid. Let's
exactly.
Fucking throw them in front of a screen and emotionally and mentally stump them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love parents like that.
So, like, you know, obviously all of my younger siblings would, like, just throw a fucking pissy fit whenever they wanted something, and, like, I do not give a fuck. There is no greater noise than listening to a child cry. So I'd just let them fucking do it, and I'd be like, hey, you want to go to your room and do that so I don't have to fucking listen to it? Which would just make them cry more. Yeah,
literally, like, people are probably going to get pissed off hearing us talk about the way we deal with this, but, like, so my general, like, I remember one of my stepsisters had a fucking, like, meltdown at me, and I just looked at her and I said, so one of us is going to be leaving the room.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be me, or is it going to be you? If it is me, I'm gonna be a lot meaner about it than I need to be. And then she was like, and I mean, like, obviously, like, no, I never fucking, like, raised a hand to those fucking kids, ever.
Yeah.
Like, I would never fucking, as much as I did not like them, I would never fucking hit a child, because I'm not a piece of shit. But I would, however, be like, if I am the one leaving the room, I am leaving with all of the remotes, so you cannot sit in here and just watch TV and have a fit. However, if you leave, you can have the remote to your bedroom, so you can watch TV and have a fit in there. And that usually, they were like, well, I want what I want, but I don't want to go without TV. Yeah. So then they would, like, leave, and I'd be like, okay, cool. But if they, like, really had a fucking meltdown, I would be like, okay, so I'm calling one of our parents, and if you keep if you keep crying and screaming at me, it's going to be my parent that is called. And obviously they would want, you know, like, their mom called, because their mom would favor them.
Right.
So my first instinct would be, let's call the parent that will favor me instead, you know?
Yeah.
God, and then there was this time that Tala, like, outright lied to try to discredit me as someone who, like, looks after them. And it didn't work. Well, it worked a little bit until, you know, I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, okay. So what had happened was, it was, I don't know, I think it was the first time I met my stepmom's parents. Real fucking wackadoos. Insane. Like, her mom is this weird, devout Christian, but also, quote-unquote, practices paganism.
Okay.
Her words. I mentioned that I liked storms, and I liked the road trip my grandparents and brother and I took out to the Blue Ridge mountains. And she said it's because...
damn it, Brickster!
And she said it's because... What'd she do?
Fucking... Brickster is eating my cords.
Oh, okay.
I would like to specify real quick. Brickster is not my cat, it's my vacuum. I didn't just yell at my cat and throw it.
I love that.
Fuck. Brickster,
but yeah,
fuck
so
off!
I mentioned that I really like, that, you know, I like storms, and I thought the mountains were really cool, and she proceeded to call me a sorceress that draws power from storms and mountains. And I was like, okay,
God.
cool.
Fucking...
And then she called my brother a shining knight. And I was like, okay, so you're fucking insane.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anyway, so Tala was there with her, like, little shitty fucking friend. And Brianna is, like, significantly younger than them. Like, they had started middle school. She was, like, at, like, the beginning grades of elementary school.
Yeah.
And you know how little kids are. They want to hang out with the older kids because they, you know, want to feel cool or whatever. Like, everyone did it, whatever. So, you know, fuck, I keep saying Brianna because Tala, her name has that vowel. Anyway,
Oops.
Tala, and her shithead little fucking prissy-ass friend were mean as fuck to Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
They, like, told her she was a loser and that she didn't have any friends, and then, like, said that no one wants to hang out with her.
Fuck, I acquired John Doe.
Yeah, so Brianna comes up to me, and she's, like, fucking bawling her eyes out crying. And not like the cry she does when she just wants something. Like, she's genuinely hurt and upset. So immediately, like, I'm like, oh shit, you know, like, what happened? And she tells me, and I was like, oh yeah? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go over and show them what it's really like to be picked on by a big kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was 16, 17-ish. Closer to 17 than 16, but I was still 16 at the time. Regardless, they were significantly younger than me.
Yes.
I go up to them and I was like, so I heard you guys think it's really fucking cool to pick on a first grader You guys think you're really cool for making a little kid cry? You guys think you're, like, just really fucking, like, belittling them
Yeah.
and, like, essentially calling them fuckwits. Like, I didn't curse at them or anything, but I was really, like, drilling it into them that, like, wow, you guys are really cool for making a fucking small child cry and saying she has no friends. You guys are so cool for that. I'm really jealous of how cool you guys are. And they didn't fucking like it because they didn't want to mouth off to me. But I could, like, see it in their eyes. They were getting pissed. So after, like, they're, like, pissed off, but, like, kind of forced into silence, I'm like, so if you guys do this again, I'm gonna be a lot meaner to you. So then they were like, whatever. And they were, like, sitting in a tree at the time. So then they hop out of the tree and they go to the backyard where there's, like, a little old play set, like a swing and, like, a slide or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're sitting back there. And then they get word that Brianna and Tala's mom is, like, my stepmom is, like, just down the way. Like, they had gone to a garage sale down the street. And they're like, oh, they're over there. So they run down the street. And I thought they wanted to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, they come back. And my stepmom's pissed at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, this is, like, what Tala and her friend did. And she goes, no, I know what they did. And I was like, so they lied. And then they walk past me and they have these smug little grins. And I was like, okay, cool. Epic. So I walk over to my dad and I tell him, he's like, yeah, Bernie told me. I was like, no, I'm going to tell you what happened. And he told me, and it apparently was a complete opposite of what they had told Brandy. They, I guess, had said that I, like, cursed them out and, like, threatened to hit them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I literally didn't. I talked to them in the front yard. They were sitting in the tree. And my dad was like, oh, really? Okay. And their grandma, or, like, my mom or my stepmom's mom was in the living room, like, next to the door. She heard me talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, Leslie didn't threaten those kids at all. She went out and, like, gave them a stern talking to because they bullied the shit out of Brianna. Yeah, so then Tala got, like, fucking grounded for lying, and she had such a meltdown that she was screaming, crying in her room. It was fucking insane, and I was like, okay. I really don't like these kids anymore. I really don't like them.
Not even fucking imagine how kids get like that, because, like,
they have, like, extreme issues with their dad, who's, like, my dad's a deadbeat. Their dad, like, this is kind of a gross story, but it, like, kind of shows how negligent their dad is. Tala, like, started her period when she was at her dad's house. It was, like, the last time he, like, ever had visitation with them. And instead of, like, going out and getting her, like, pads or tampons, he just let her fucking bleed and, like, didn't wash her clothes or anything.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and they were there for 3 days. And he just didn't do anything. And his girlfriend was there, too, and she didn't do anything for Tala either. So they have, like, issues with their dad, and now I'm assuming they have issues with their mom because their mom's a fucking drug addict.
Next time on Starfy, maybe a little less sad. Maybe.
It's not sad, at least not to me. It's just kind of like, these kids suck.
Maybe.